Hello, everybody. This is Tijen, Master Certified Coach and Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, your host. And I have three beautiful coaches with me that they have been with me for a while. It's such a pleasure to have them in my presence. And today we are going to talk about one of my masterclass offerings, that is the Sufi Approach to Concepts of Life and Pathways to Heart. And I have my reasons to offer that course. And we're going to talk about, and you will be hearing from them directly, some of the reasons. And before we get into it, why don't you start introducing yourselves to our audience? Let's start with you, Leeny. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you. So my name is Leeny Hoffmann, and I am a board certified health and wellness coach, NBC-HWC. And I do health and wellness coaching, and I mostly work with midlife women, and I help facilitate them through a program to learn or relearn how to nourish their bodies well, how to move their bodies well, to feel energetic and help them meet their wellness goals and feel confident about the whole process. And I'm also a mother of 4 and soon to be a grandmother of 1.
Yes, congratulations once again on that. And thank you for that introduction. What about you, Jennifer? Welcome.
Yes, hi there. My name is Jennifer James, and I am a transformative wellness life coach. I am ICF certified associate, I have my associate certification, and I work with, similar to Leeny, I work with folks who are in midlife transitions. Most of my clients at this point are empty nesters. I also have a few retirees, people who are on the cusp of retiring. And so they're shifting from one phase of life to another. And what I have found in my groups, it's a supportive and nurturing space for especially for my female clients to rediscover who they are after being a mom for so long. They get that moment to kind of tap back into who they are, what they're passionate about at this point in their lives. And we just provide a very safe and nurturing space for them to explore.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Marianne, what about you? Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Tijen. My name is Marianne Gernetzke. I am National Board Certified as a Health and Wellness Coach, and I'm also certified as a Professional Certified Coach with the ICF. And I come from a background, I transitioned into coaching from a background in healthcare. I also work as a mentor coach, and I do some one-on-one mentor coaching in addition to my work as a coach, which is primarily in the area of health and wellness. And I work in many different contexts as a health and wellness coach, but my favorite is to work with clients seeking greater mental resilience and emotional well-being. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share about me here. Thank you.
Thank you for that as well. So I mentioned in our opening that we're going to talk about one of my masterclass offering, that is Sufi Approach to Concepts of Life and Pathways to Heart. My reasons offering for that was that as a master coach and a person that is a seeker, I always wanted to look into life in a philosophical way, understanding the meaning of things, and in a more purposeful way of living was my desire to understand, practice, and support others to do so. So Sufi Pathways is just one a language, one lens to get us there, which I found helpful, explaining concepts of life. And in every dimension of coaching which I practice, whether it's an executive, professional life, or health and wellness, it's important for us to understand a deeper meaning of what is taking place so that we can support other persons to make meaning and maybe find a different relationship to what was occurring in their life. So therefore, I decided to offer this as a masterclass series in 2023, which we are recording this in November 6, 2023, yet the course started in January. And the idea that, yes, it's important for coaches as a mentor coach for them to understand the core competencies. But even then, application of core competencies at a mastery full level requires a different relationship to the more primitive way of just taking what it is and reacting to it. And therefore, it was my reason offering that. And I am so delighted that 3 of my participants here, and they are going to tell you, let's start with this question. What made you attend, based on whatever I put in my description on the website, to this masterclass series? Why don't we start with you, Marianne?
Well, I think I personally am also a spiritual seeker. I think that's part of why I have resonated with your teachings for the last 5 years, Tijen. And I seek to learn these deeper, more purpose-driven meanings of life that you're referring to. I do a lot of meditation and a lot of my own personal learning in spiritual areas. And I saw this as another opportunity to expand that learning for myself. And I knew that you would bring profound concepts to my awareness in this discussion, because that has been my experience in so many courses that I've taken from you.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that. And what about you, Jennifer? What made you sign up for the course?
Yeah, I could say ditto to what Marianne just said. Yeah, I also, it seemed like this course came at just the right moment in time for me. Speaking of life transitions for myself, I've been, over the last year, have experienced a lot of life transitions. So moving house, having children go off to college, just even life transitions in my body, and just as a woman, transitioning into another step in life. And that was, I think, with all of that change, that was a piece of what drew me to this Sufi class, was exploring. I think of myself as an explorer. So wanting to explore these concepts that are a part of all of our lives, and that, looking for a place to be in a group space where I could explore those spiritual pieces of myself that I don't feel like I have other spaces to explore at this point in my life. I think at one point in time, I had a place within my own growing up, in my community that I grew up in, and in the church that I grew up in. I feel like now I'm in a space of looking for a little more depth to sacredness and spiritualness. And I have found that what we're studying, the different Sufi concepts, has really allowed me a space to not only explore it myself, but to explore it within a group that's safe and supportive.
Beautiful. So both of you are seekers, and that the enrollment had actually different reasoning, slightly different reasoning. One is seeking what's truth, and another one is more so that how do I transition in a place of refuge, which is caring and absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer. And what about you, Leeny?
Yeah, when this came up, it was in January, I think, when I saw it, and it was in that month where you are being more intentional and more focused about what you want for the year. I mean, you know, the New Year's resolutions and all. It was like the universe tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, you need to go take this course. So, and I was intrigued by the subject matter. I didn't know what Sufism was at all, but I know Tijen to be such a gifted guide when we dive into this kind of stuff. And I trust her implicitly, and she does create such a sacred space for all of us to explore. And I think it was through, you know, going through a coaching program that I met Tijen, that I started diving deep. But up to that point, I was so busy with Western life, doing, that I don't know that I ever really took the time, took the time, or even knew how to explore deeper. So this was something that really gave me that opportunity. And I am learning that I am a budding spiritual seeker of truth, of understanding myself. And this has been really the perfect container to explore.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to say that as a upgraded reflection, being a coach. I would say you're not budding seeker, you are blossoming one. How is that?
I like that language. let me write that down.
Well, thank you for that share. So, and by the way, Leeny, you were the first one that signed up for the class as I posted and my offering, and I was so delighted to see your name there. Absolutely, all of your names. And so we started getting into it. Then how are these concepts, this master class offerings, the Sufi concepts, started to impact or impacted your views of life and life expression, right? Self-expression. And if you wanted to compare and contrast prior to class and after the class, and or through the class, right? We're not over, but that's also welcome. So why don't we start with you, Jennifer?
Yeah. So prior to the class, I felt like I was beginning a journey of exploration, of spiritual exploration, you know, what's inside of me. How do I relate to the world around me? And knowing that I had a certain lens coming into the class. So I had this lens of being brought up as a Catholic in the Catholic Church. And so I had that point of view coming in. And within that point of view, which is also echoed in the Sufi book, are some of those concepts around compassion and peace, and where you find support, and what is, you know, almost like religion as protective, you know, something that is protective of our souls.
Mm.
And there's that idea of, yeah, we aren't just our physical bodies, right? We're not just our physical bodies. We're more than that. And, what is spiritual? What does that mean? And so that was my viewpoint coming into the class. And during the class, I found that the discussion of these topics went deeper, and they also gave me a place to actually begin like a real conversation. Tijen, you mentioned, part of it was like truth, right? Looking for truth and that seeking a place of refuge. And that has probably been part of my spiritual searching is, what is truth? I don't know. Like, how do we know? So, being in the class, like having a topic that one of the chapters was on yeses and nos. And then that even took me into a place of like, what are my yeses? What are my nos? And, within the context of, again, like a spiritual understanding of not just my physical yeses and nos in my daily life, what is that deeper place of looking at myself, maybe even through a lens of what is really my truth? Like, why am I saying yes? Does yes always mean yes? I don't know. I'm saying yes. Anyway, so but during the class, I think what really has come across is there's this place of exploration and discussion within the group, where we all support each other, and I'm learning about other people's journeys, and then also to echo, I think what Marianne said, that Tijen, having you as our guide is sort of, there's this path forward. And during each class and after each class, what I take away is so enriching. It's enriching to my life. I feel like I can really bring it into my life. And the book is such a it's so accessible. So I feel like I can just go back to it if I want to reread a chapter, if I want to do the meditation that's in the chapter again, I can go back to that. And then just to kind of round things out here, because you're talking about like, that's the after the class part, right? So what happens after the class? I feel like, and of course our class is ongoing, but I feel like I have this resource. It's, if you will, it's kind of this bite-sized resource of wisdom. And I feel like
on the go.
Like when I need it, like I can just reflect back and because the themes in the book resonate so much with just daily life, what we experience in our daily lives. What does peace mean? What does support mean in our lives? And then because each chapter ends with a meditation that involves sounding a word that is, I think, I don't know, maybe Tijen, what is the words are they in Arabic? I'm not too sure what the language is.
Yeah.
And so it's saying those words and how they resonate in your body. I can do one of those meditations, and it is almost like a bite-sized meditation as well. And I can feel the different places in my body where that's resonating. So it's sort of like it's bringing in the concept, the discussion, the knowledge, and then bringing it into my body's intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's where I've arrived with that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, those are it almost sound syllables similar to the ones that chanting mantras in Sanskrit. What I'm gathering from you, Jennifer, you were looking for deeper understanding of life and your responses to life. Why am I doing what am I doing, and what's the impact of every choice I'm making, larger impact of my life, along with the practices to further integrate. Yeah, thank you for that. And what are your thoughts, Marianne? How would you describe the impact for you?
I would say, first of all, I think you summarized it well when you said before that my intention is about seeking of truth. I think I've always had questions about the purpose and meaning of life, and have been working towards a deeper understanding of my dance with a divine creator and how I co-create or collaborate in the creation of my own life. And so one thing that I find really exciting about this course and the impact it has on me is many of the concepts that come up truly resonate with some of the other learning I've done through my own meditation and study of Christian mystics. And that really does have an impact on me. It validates and reinforces the concepts I'm learning, but also really deepens my appreciation for all humans, all human experiences, and feels like a real gift or treasure I can bring into coaching sessions as a coach. And I can see these concepts coming forward in coaching sessions and inquire about them. And I feel like that is really impactful for both me and my clients as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, you're touching upon the pathway to unity consciousness, pathway to heart, right? That the deeper compassion and understanding what might be happening in another human being rather than our reactive response. Beautiful.
And I just find it so exciting and uplifting to learn about the Sufis and how they, in their unity consciousness, are examining the same things that I'm finding other mystics are examining and talking about. I just love that and find it so fun to learn about.
Yeah, beautiful. And one of the reasons I picked this through the Sufi philosophy, because it wasn't necessarily going into the religious pathway, rather at staying at the philosophical level. So anybody from a different religious background can sit in it without being disturbed by the concepts. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And what are your thoughts, Leeny? How is that impact on you?
Yeah, well, just to touch on what you just said, I really did appreciate, I come from a Catholic background, but I appreciated the approach. And we refer to the universe a lot, and people can make the universe whatever's important to them. And so this is really for anybody and everybody. I really, going into this, I was excited about putting more energy into self-exploration and diving deeper, having that exploration about how I self-expressed. And I feel like it helped turn that autopilot switch off so I could flip on the manual switch. Right? So now that I had words around what we were talking about, I had a concept, a construct to work with. Each one of our classes was a different exploration, and it added a new layer of understanding for me through all of our discussion and through the things that, Tijen, that you would bring with your vast understanding of everything. Let's just say of everything. So you really aren't sure what's going to happen in that class, but it unfolds beautifully and it leaves a lasting lasting impact. And I mean, I'm just thinking about some of the conversations that we had that really moved me and moved my needle forward, about how we partner with the universe, and how do we show up for ourselves, and what is our part in this whole partnership, and what happens when we don't trust in that partnership, not just the universe, but in how we partner and how we overfunction. A lot of the themes were things that spoke right to me, of people pleasing and overfunctioning. And this was really great exploration. Talking a lot about choice and what yes means to you. And when you say yes to something, you say no to something else. And I just so appreciated the deep dive and putting words around these concepts that were always there, but they weren't quite, I never made time to really flesh them out and bring them into my awareness. So I just, as Forrest Gump would say, every class was like a box of chocolates. Like you weren't quite sure what you were going to get, but they were all fabulous.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Leeny. So you're actually getting us prepared for the next part of the discussion. What I'm hearing here for you, which is something some of you heard me say, that being more responsible with who we are and how we respond to life, right? Being more conscious about every choice we make, because whether we consider them small or large, we wouldn't know the true impact of that until maybe centuries later, whether the small thing was a small choice or not, right? Exactly. Oops, I did it again. So, yeah, so in a way, what you're saying is that invites you more into the presence and to deeper understanding of every breath we take, and as I say, every choice we make, in a way. So then what have you really discovered about yourself in these sessions and the way you express yourself to the external world, Leeny?
Well, it one of the things I think that it does is it offers clarity into your value structure. And I started also realizing the things that limit our self-expression, that sometimes we're not even aware of, is the people pleasing, the cultural conditioning, familial conditioning, mindless action. And so I walked away with a better understanding of the implication of my choices. As you were saying earlier, sometimes we just say yes or no without a lot of awareness around what we're allowing in, or discernment around what we are allowing in and what we are exhaling out. And I feel like with each class, I had more clarity about the choice that I had in the decisions that I make. And when I am not on autopilot, but on manual, I have more autonomy and say, I have all autonomy and say into what I do and how I show up and what I bring in and what I draw a boundary with. And I feel like it is, I feel more resilient. I feel more confident. I feel more one with the source.
What a gorgeous takeaway, right? And couple other words that come into my mind, that more governance, sovereignty of the self.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for that. What about you, Marianne? What have you discovered about yourself and self-expression?
A lot of what Leeny has said resonates with me as well. There is definitely a clarity of my value structure. Um, a lot of it, as I reflect on it, really just helps me to continue to work towards more authentic self-expression of myself in the world through my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. Just continuing to build on that with these concepts. And I'm a reflector, right? I'm a very introverted person, and I love to just think about things and ask questions and reflect on the answers. And for me, that's part of the impact on me, is I have such joy in getting to discuss these topics with everybody here, as well as just think about them and reflect on them and continue carrying them forward. And as I think about this, I can reflect that in the neurological course, we start talking about self-expression.
Yes.
And every time in any of your mentor coaching offerings, you are teaching us about utilizing coaching that's aligned with internal family systems. We're looking at where we're muting ourselves. And these Sufi concepts just help us to go even deeper into the spiritual realm of where we are saying no to ourselves and where we're taking responsibility for how we express ourselves. And so all of those things come forward for me in response to this question. That is just a delight to think about these things and then try to rise to the challenge of showing up in the world the way I want to, in this conscious way.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for that. You brought up few of my offerings, but what I'm thinking now, hearing you, more of the one that I will be starting, I started today, the branding and niche, right? This actually offering almost re-authenticates the self.
Yes.
In much more truthful and true to the self resonance. Leeny brought forward about our social upbringing, the cognitive distortions they brought forward, and you share that in the neurologic course offering. We look at that, we look at our nervous system response, and this is in a way just getting us to deep, right, understand those concepts towards that. And of course, as you said it, I know whenever we do coaching, you like to leave the sessions with more questions. So this is supporting your appetite in more inquiry. Glad to hear that. Yeah. Thank you, Marianne. And what about you, Jennifer?
Yeah. The way that this class has allowed me to discover myself, what I've discovered. There's some similarity for me with Leeny, and that things that I knew about myself that were allowed to be brought forward with more compassion, with less judgment, and with more love. And I think that's been a really big piece for me. I have throughout my life also been a people pleaser, a peacemaker, someone who within that realm, I feel like a holding back, right? Sort of like a holding myself back, restricting myself. And that particular discovery was nothing new. What I found within this space, within our group, within our Sufi discussion group, it did allow me to look, I guess I'm getting back to honesty, like to look at it more honestly. Here's where I'm at. What brought me here? I'm probably like Marianne too. I create more questions around around these explorations. Yeah, so it's been an opportunity for me to dive deeper and to, within each chapter that we read, and having the opportunity to sit with it. Again, what really comes up for me is the yeses and the nos. And giving myself the space to think that through, to really, and even to get sort of quiet with it. I think it's already been talked about, like in our particular life, in our particular world, there's this need for an answer and a quick response. And maybe we don't have that full luxury of time, or it doesn't seem like we have that full luxury of time to really let a question settle in, like really let it settle in, and allow and then allow ourselves to really consider it. And what does this mean in my life? What does it mean in my life when I do say yes to something without even thinking about it? What are the after effects? And I think for me, there have been, I honestly think throughout my life, I didn't really stop to think about how it really impacted my life. I'm at the point now where I'm understanding that. And what also bubbles up within this discovery of how I express myself is in my my boundary setting. And my boundary setting, it does have to do with, and Marianne, you talked about the like authentic value structure. And I've discovered that when I know what my values are, then my yeses can truly be yeses. My no's are truly no's. Yeah, that's where I'm arriving right now. There's a lot more in there, and I think that the beauty of this class is a place of exploration of how we are, all of us are navigating our lives, our spiritual lives, our whole body lives.
Beautiful. Yeah. So what I'm hearing, that few things are really coming as a theme out of this discussion, as it's in the name, right? A pathway to heart, the judgment, the compassion, the empathy, and understanding. They are all heart center energies. And in another is to understanding the authentic values and realignment with that. So that's where I was saying sovereignty and governance of the self, right? Otherwise we buy into whomever is raising us, whatever the culture we're in, to fit in. And now we're coming into more fierceness about, all right, and then be okay to negotiate what fits and what doesn't. So beautiful. And who would like to get us started on how are these changes then impacting your coaching?
I could begin if you'd like. And it's almost to segue right between what I said and to how I'm bringing it into my coaching. Where the way that the classes have impacted how I coach is that I see my client, like I see them. I truly
Mhm.
see them
Yeah.
as the whole and beautiful person that they are. And there's there's much more of an allowing. I'm using the word allowing. There may be a different word, but allowing
Appreciation.
appreciation and appreciation that my client is just like me.
Mhm.
There's somebody who is navigating the world, they're navigating life, they're figuring things out. They come with everything that makes a whole person, you know, their value systems, their family background, how they're operating in their current life. And I really find that that has been the biggest impact on me, is just an opening of a capacity for me to see that. And there's that, and then there is that appreciating, and there's also that giving space to that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm.
What you said earlier also, one of the aspects you were bringing forward, Jennifer, that the sacred space I often talk about, that becomes more prominent for you, looks like, and you all mentioned about the sacred space we create collectively in these sessions. But when you leave, that space seems to be staying, so that when a question or choice making arises, there is then opportunity to let that sit in, allow the solution to come forward. And in that space, then it enhances your capacity to interact with another being from that spaciousness. Beautiful. Yeah.
Mm. You know, I think about this in terms of blind spots with coaches. We have to discover what ours are, and that always helps you be a better coach. And like for me, this whole concept of partnering with the universe, it was really profound, this whole understanding. And me, along with many of my clients, think we know what the best outcome should be. And here's the how, and this is how it needs to happen. And when it doesn't happen, there's a big problem. And understanding that, and from some of the discussions we had, that the universe is always giving us an invitation. And it may not be in the package we had hoped for, but are we open to this invitation? And that perspective change was huge for me. And I think it's made an impact on my coaching, because I can bring that to them. And instead of, you know, and that's where we go in and ask them their relationship to their problem. And many times it's because they have certain expectations and there's some rigidity, and they see things as one outcome, when we can now say, you know, there is an invitation here, and maybe what is the learning, and it just opens up the conversation. What I found, that, and I think that's one of the biggest things I've walked away with is understanding this partnership and recognizing that, letting go of the specificity, of the outcome, and allowing, or not, and learning how we can trust and allow.
Beautiful. And being open to possibilities, right? They are endless.
Yes. And what do they mean? And that meaning is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So embodiment of that spaciousness and flexibility is accompanying you into the coaching sessions, and you become, as I say in my mentor sessions, more seductively invitational to clients to find that pathway.
Yes. Because they come in just so limited. There aren't other options. This is the way it should be. It's not happening.
Yeah.
All bets are off.
Yeah.
And we can expand and we can give them that bird's eye view, and we can offer perspective that they may have never considered, some that I had not considered.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Leeny. And what are your thoughts, Marianne?
Well, first I want to say everything that Jennifer and Leeny shared resonates with me too. As I reflect on this, I think since I get the sort of exciting role of teaching new coaches about coaching, I can look back and see how creative, resourceful, and whole didn't have nearly the meaning for me as a new coach that it has now. That the appreciation Jennifer was talking about is so much deeper in that sacred space. And these conversations we're having through these master classes really support and supplement that. I think you've always told us, Tijen, that the client before us is a true masterpiece. And I that was something I sought to understand 5 years ago as I transitioned into a coaching career. But now I really feel I can sit and really love that masterpiece before me. And in saying this, my coaching, I think, continues to become more and more heart-centered. And these discussions support that. And in one of the, I guess our last conversation we had around accepting support from the universe, there was a little poem, and one of the lines was, "The head of doubt has 2 ears and the heart only one, and the heart only has an ear for the song of the beloved." And I feel like that really captures what I'm trying to say here. But also, I just feel like as I'm more heart-centered, I have a lot less of my own doubts clouding my vision in the coaching sessions. I feel like the more I learn about and explore these truths, the more I feel I'm more confident about my coaching. Certainly, there are still things I'm, seeing, like the blurriness of my yeses and nos in life. There are certainly lots of places for me to grow as a person, as there always will be, because I'm a human being. But I find that I'm more confident and heart-centered in my coaching. And that aligns with the authentic person that I think I was made to be and want to be. So yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And I remember years ago when we were preparing for your submissions for ICF, one of the things I mentioned to you, be partner with your client. And that was a new concept for you coming from the therapy background. How do I partner? Am I not supposed to be in charge? And as we learn to partner with the whole world around us, right, we become a better partner to ourselves and everybody that shows up in our space. That's what you're moving forward. Beautiful.
Yeah, I will say, coming from other professions, what we think is partnership is just very superficial. Certainly not that I wasn't seeking partnership, but as a coach, especially within these heart-centered conversations, we partner in a much more profound way.
Yeah. Beautiful, right? Not needing to change anything, but to appreciate what is happening. It's a very different thing than offering pushiness into the sacred space. Yeah, lovely. So you already mentioned about some of the techniques that I use in my different offerings, and this one has more few techniques that we discuss and self-reflective practice and all that. So what do you want our audience to know about these different learning techniques offered through, in general, my offerings, or in this particular master class? How it speaks to your learning preferences? Jennifer?
Yeah. So where do I start? Because it's it's just like it's yeah, just all of the learning methods that you offer are, as for me as a student, allows me to sort of feel it, like tap in, feel in to the different parts of my body. There's the one piece that you already mentioned at Tijen, which is the self-reflective practice, which I really like that. I can dive deep into that after we have, you know, whatever theme or concept that we're reading about, then to take that time to reflect on it. What the other method that really has resonated with me, actually there are two, but one that I'll bring up right now is incorporating music into a lesson. It could be within the actual session, or it could be outside of it. What I find with music and the pieces of music that you've chosen, Tijen, you know, I can be studying the concept and then I listen to the music and it'll take me like right into a part of my body. And so what I appreciate about that is it allows me to tap into the intelligence that is in my body. And it's not all of my cognitive intelligence. It's the other aspects of intelligence that my body holds. There's also I don't believe you have done it with this particular class. You've done it with other classes, is offering, it could be a part of the class or it could be separate meditation. Another way of bringing participants into a space that, what I have found is it removes some of the filters that might be present that get in the way of, for me, it's been the filters that can get in the way of accessing an understanding, a deeper understanding. I don't know. I keep going back to this one. I'm just going to go back to it again. The yeses and the nos. You know, you can have this top level where it's like, oh, well, you know, either, I don't know, either you, yes, I want hot chocolate, or no, I don't want hot chocolate. It can be just very simple. And with the, let's say the heart-centered topics that we've talked about in the Sufi realm, there's a much deeper piece that's there to be uncovered. And I do believe that and I'm bringing up the methods of music and meditation, a way to come into it. And then I think there is that, oh my gosh, I'm amazed by it. So it's a tapping into the body's intelligence, the spiritual intelligence, what we can't see.
Okay.
It's there that we can't see.
Beautiful. Yeah, the somatic presence and, as I say, cooperation, right? We learn to cooperate instead of direct. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Jennifer. And what about you, Marianne?
Let's see. Well, in this and all of your offerings, there are always the live discussion aspect. And I love that for a few reasons. It's an opportunity to learn from you, Tijen, as you model group coaching, as you model the sacred space. And I love the people that are drawn to you. I love talking to other seekers And I'm very fond of everybody here and so many other people I've met through your courses. That's the community of coaches that I know through you is very important to me. In this course in particular, I really enjoyed the opportunity to take these deep spiritual concepts and talk about how these show up in the coaching session and how we might inquire about them in the coaching session. One example that stands out for me is when we were talking about the sacred space and the stillness before creation. We generated a lot of cool metaphors we can ask the client about. You know, how they create stillness or how they clear off their desk before they start a project, but in a metaphorical way. And so I love those kinds of conversations. I also, because I like to reflect on things, I truly love the outside of the in-person space, the homework. I like being able to reflect on those questions and submit the homework to you. And I always look forward to the response I get back from you, Tijen, because I appreciate your insights and challenges in response to my homework. I just find those delicious. So these are some of the things that I've loved about this and other courses.
Thank you so much, Marianne. What about you, Leeny?
Where do I start? Oh my gosh. I mean, Jennifer and Marianne said many of the things that I was going to say, but you are so versed in so many esoteric learnings and studies that you bring things in that I'm like, what? Where did that, what is that? And it's just it's such a rich learning environment. And I really value learning and growth. And this is just, it's always so exciting. And as Marianne was saying, I know in some of the other courses I've taken with you, like for your mastery and coaching, one of the things that I loved about those classes is that you would give us a piece of homework, whether it was listening to a podcast or reading a passage or whatever. You would do that. Then you'd give us reflections, things to think about, as Marianne was saying. And then we would spend the first part of our class discussing that and digging into it and really finding out how we all related to what we learned. And then we would go on and do coaching and apply those concepts to coaching. So it was a full experience. So I love that class. And then I love how you bring some of your other offerings, because you're so versed in somatic coaching or neurologic or polyvagal, like you bring bits of those into lots of your other offerings. And so it's almost like Legos, like they all fit together and they create something different every time, right? Depending on how you put them together. So, I mean, the metaphorical language is so rich. You always bring in some kind of a anatomy or physiology, and my background is in biology, so I always love that. There is something for everybody in your courses.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Leeny. And that's actually a good pathway. Maybe we continue with you about, I mean, you've been giving our audience a lot of information, but what would you like them to know about this experience? And maybe even one word or anything else you wanted to tell the audience?
Wow. Well, gosh, I don't know if I have one word that could describe it like I'd like, but robust.
Just use anything.
Robust is what came to mind at first. There's so much meat on this bone. Like
for a vegan teacher.
I know, I was thinking about, and I'm like, I got to say it anyway. That's another thing I have to say. One thing that you will learn when you do any of Tijen's is that language is so important. And every word matters. And so sometimes we did a whole class one time on how aggressive our language, our Western language is, which was that really stuck with me for a long time. But there is so much here, so much learning, so much love. Like we are all little pathway clearers, we're just trying to make our way to that heart. So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
I would recommend this highly to anyone.
Thank
Yes.
you, Leeny. Yeah. And Jennifer, what about you? What do you want our audience to know about the course, and what would be your word?
Yeah, I'm going to be just like Leeny. It's hard. It's hard to find that one word. I'm going to say the one word is heart appreciating.
Mhm.
And I could slash heart expanding. My overall experience has been not only a heart opening, but a self opening. And within the space of our discussions, our conversations, which, like Leeny has said, there's such a richness there, a richness of learning, and Tijen, you bringing in information, that we would never, I wouldn't even know how to access it. So it's your bringing things in and making them accessible to your groups. And then that in turn brings in just a deeper dive. I don't even know how to, I'm trying to, like, we're talking about languaging, just a depth of like what's inside of me, like an allowing of and appreciating what is inside of me. And I think by having different approaches, bringing in, like, if this class has been based on the Sufi book of life, bringing in that approach, but there's more, right? There can be that Sufi and the somatic aspect. I have not taken the neurological class yet, but I know that comes into some of our sessions as well. And so I think in this class in particular, it's allowed me to, like, uncover parts of myself that maybe have been sort of hidden away, like, put in a box, put up in the top shelf somewhere, or the attic. They're put up there. It's there somewhere. And then it's like, there could be a discussion topic that comes forward, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yes, there it is. Oh, it's like almost like uncovering treasure, right? Oh, I remember this part of myself. I remember that I had these courageous pieces of me, but they're just in there, seemingly waiting to come out. And it's also the nurturing and supportive space that's offered for not only this class, all of your classes, Tijen. And I think it allows a place for all of us to be heard and to be seen, which does not happen in all aspects of our lives.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm delighted to hear that, and goes back to Marianne, right? Let me introduce you to this masterpiece that you are. Recognition of what I see, right? Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. And Marianne, what do you want our audience to know about your experience?
Yeah, I feel I've already said
Mhm.
everything I have to say, that I would just be repeating myself. I don't think I'll say a whole lot more, but the word that comes up for me is enriching. I think the class has enriched my own personal transformation journey, which has become one of my favorite things to do. It's enriched my appreciation of myself and my clients, and it's enriched my coaching sessions.
Mm.
And mentoring.
Mm.
And my mentor coaching. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. So let's continue with you, Marianne. How will our audience find you if they're interested in working with you?
Yes, if anyone is interested in working with me, they can contact me through my website, and they can find me at createhigherwellbeing.com.
Mhm.
Also, I might just mention that if there are listeners who are preparing to take the national board exam for health and wellness coaches, they can find me through you, Tijen, because I teach that course for you. And they can find that information at your website, jenkocoaching.com.
Yes, thank you for that. Mhm. Jennifer, how about you?
Yes. And so everyone can find me at jenniferjamescoaching.com. And yeah, you can connect with me there. I have also just started to collaborate a little bit with Tijen as well. So I have a recent offering that's actually underway right now. Yeah, but the first step would be jenniferjamescoaching.com.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Leeny?
First, I want to say I thought of another word that
What
I
is
thought
that?
was really good. As we were talking, enzymatic. So like an enzyme is something that acts as a catalyst for change, and it speeds up the change. And I feel like this offering and any of your offerings are catalysts for change within a coach that allows us to help change or enhance the process of clients when they're in their growth process. So that I wanted to say
Beautiful. Love the word.
that.
It speaks to my geeky side too.
And enzymes can be used over and over and over again. So it's not like they get used up once. Yeah. So ever present, enzymatic. I can be found at LeenyHoffmannWellness.com or on Instagram as Leeny Hoff.
Beautiful. Thank you, ladies. It's been such a delightful conversation. Thank you for your partnership being here. And I look forward to continue to partner up with you in our growth together.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.